The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rosacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea,
Heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Tred Rosacker, and I am your host for the next hour on my Slim Body Laser Spa's Health and Wellness Show. Of course, my emphasis is on how lasers, today's medical lasers, are being used to help you to feel better, to look better, to get better, quicker, faster, more predictable results. That's what excites me about today's medical lasers. These are not the type of lasers which burn tissue. These are not the type of Star Wars lasers which shoot rockets out of the sky. These are low-level cold laser technology which is safe to apply. It does not cause cancer. It does not cause any tissue damage whatsoever. It is a healing light. In fact, it's incredible. I was watching a program this week on YouTube, and it was a Dr. Jepson is her name, and she is studying the use of red light on tumors and on healing tissue, and also using it for imaging, which I will go into a little bit today. I will dance around and entice you to realize that these laser light, red light, is absolutely mind-blowing what it's creating for health and for wellness for people today. My office is called the Slim Body Laser Spa. And we're doing spot fat reduction and laser body sculpting. And we also call it laser assisted weight loss. And the idea behind it is that weight loss is tough. You know it. I know it. The world knows it. We wouldn't be so overweight if it was easy. And I just felt that when I was introduced to this low-level laser, this red light laser device about 10 years ago, I just saw the value in it. I could see it right away. I said, wow, this has the ability to get results without eating, without diet. I mean, holy cow. That's like having a car that you don't have to put fuel in and it still works. It doesn't make sense. And without diet and without exercise, holy cow. I had to listen. I had to check it out. Well, it's a reality. I have the procedure. We're located in Stuart on East Ocean Boulevard, right across the street from the Fresh Market. Our address, for those who can only get around with Google Map, is 2311 Southeast Ocean Boulevard. And that's in Stuart. My phone number is 772-223-5885. My toll-free number is 1-844-DR-SLIM-BODY, 844-DR-SLIMBODY. I have a website. It's www.drtredslimbodylaserspa.com, or you could put in slimbodylaserspa.com. You could even put in Stewart Laser Spa. For those of you who remember when I first started doing the laser spa, I called it the Stewart Laser Spa. And we changed the name to Slim Body Laser Spa. And about 2 years ago, I rebranded with my own first name, which is Dr. Tread. So now it's Dr. Tread's Slim Body Laser Spa. I have a youtube.com account, Slim Body Laser Spa. I have over 30 video testimonials on my YouTube account. You can also go on facebook.com. It's called Slim Body Laser Spa on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, twitter.com, Dr. Tread DC. And you can tweet me, and I can twit you and Twitter back and forth. Gotta love Twitter. I do get a lot of news from Twitter these days. It's easy, it's fast. It's a shame it's so slanted in one. It doesn't have a broad brush Twitter. I guess it's who you choose to feed after. Anyway, so the laser is super effective. There's no side effects or risks. It does. Who needs it? Anyone that's struggling to lose fat, that wants to get rid of those pesky inches and get that extra head start. It only takes 3 times a week for 3 weeks. So it's a 3-week process. And what you can expect in that 3 weeks is you can expect 1 to 4 inches of girth reduction if it's in your belly. Pretty easy peasy, as they say, laying on your back, putting the laser on, moving into whole body vibration. Be willing to be mindful. Be mindful of your calories. That just means be aware. Think about it, what you're eating. Try to eat real food, protein, vegetables, fruits. That's real food. Everything else is a combination of those. And you can expect to lose 1 to 4 inches of girth. I did it myself. I went from a 40 waist to a 36-inch waist in only 3 weeks. It was pretty powerful for me. And where does the released fat go? That's the next question. The fat is actually released by the laser, but you burn it as energy. It gives you a boost. It gives you a shot in the arm of energy, because those fatty acids are your body's best source of energy. It loves fatty acid, which is why we look for fat in our foods. But once it goes into your bloodstream and it turns into energy, man, it's like drinking 3 Red Bulls without the side effects. You got to love that. And is it permanent? It can be permanent. The area that we're treating is the outer layer, the subcutaneous fat layer, not the visceral fat. The visceral fat is around your organs. That is the stuff that you have to eat less and exercise to lose visceral fat. That's a fact. Subcutaneous, on the other hand, is the stuff which accumulates on the outside of the body. On the outside of the body, under your skin, of course. It's not on the outside. It's under the skin, in front of the muscle. If you take your hands, reach down to your belly, and you can pinch it and grab it and squeeze it and gush it, that's subcutaneous fat. The stuff that's really deep in your body, the visceral fat, you can't squish and gush it. So that's the difference. And because the laser releases those calories and you burn it as energy, it's really hard to put those calories back on to that same compartment. Now, you can become viscerally fat again. You can gain weight again, and that will push out, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go to the outer compartment. And it's something I would really have to show you. I could tell you how it works, but to show you is much better. And the costs range between $300 for a session up to 9 sessions. That could be up to $2,800 for the whole program. And what areas can you treat? You can treat your chin, your arms, your back fat, around your bra bulge. If you're wearing a bra, you could treat the bulges. Maybe I won't go there. You can do your arms, your legs, your ankles, the cankles, the bat wings, anywhere that you're accumulating subcutaneous fat, lipomas, areas of your skin which collect fat underneath the skin, those lumps people get. That laser can release and can shrink and reduce the size of lipomas. Holy cow. What a concept. Lose your lipoma today. Are you on medication? You can still do the procedure. Medication's not a contraindication for it. You can lower your blood sugar. You can increase your lean muscle mass, increase your energy. No strict diet, no strenuous exercise. It's doctor supervised, laser assisted weight loss program. All right. Are you excited yet? Is everybody motivated? You want to look better and feel better? Well, I could tell you all day long how well it works, but I have somebody that I would rather share their story with. Hi. Are you there? Mr. Larry?
Yes, I am. Hey, good morning.
Howdy. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, very, very good. So you're calling the radio program, right?
Yes, I am.
You know, there's about between 4,000 to 15,000 people listening right now. You're okay with that?
I'm definitely okay with it.
I knew you could. I knew you could handle it, Larry. Hey, I'm glad you called up. And besides the fact that we have common things we like, tell me what happened at the spa. How did you hear about us? What kind of results did you get? Was it easy? Was it hard? Tell us the truth.
I got great results. My wife was telling me about it, and I'd seen your ad in the paper and that. And I was needing to lose some weight around my waist and everything. And after like 9 sessions in 3 weeks there, I lost over 7 inches.
Woo!
And 10 pounds without a whole lot of exercise. Matter of fact, probably the biggest exercise done was a little fishing. And I did watch what I was eating and everything. And
yep.
I stuck to it good. And
pleased with the results?
I'm real pleased, definitely pleased. And I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's really done me good, done my wife good, and had a big time, you know, going through the treatments and everything. And they were easy.
I like that. Easy. I know. It shouldn't be suffering. So let's say on your waist size, did you drop a waist size or two? Was it in your
I went down 1.5 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to tighten up your belt a couple notches.
Definitely. Sure did. Yeah. I can wear my shirt tail in now.
Oh, there you go. That's great. And I'm sure that anybody noticed that you lost the weight or lost the inches besides your beautiful wife?
Yeah, I got some friends that noticed it and everything.
That's great. That's great. All right, Larry. And so you saw the ad in the paper, right?
I saw the ad in the paper, and then my wife was talking to me, and I was a little leery, you know, but I mean, it surprised me how easy it was to, you know, stick to the program and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
you feel you feel your health
saw results. Yeah, that meant a lot to me.
and you feel your health is improved as a result, correct?
Oh, I sure do. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
can
so
bend over
important.
and tie my shoes now without losing my breath.
Without holding your breath, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that understand exactly what you're talking about. That's why they have these slip-on shoes nowadays. They don't have to bend over. They don't have to bend over to lace them up. That belly's in the way. All right, Mr. Yates. Thank you so much, Larry. I appreciate it. You're a fantastic client. You and your wife have been a pleasure to take care of. And if we could get 100 more just like you guys, that would just be great.
Well,
Thank
I
you
would
so
highly
much,
recommend it to anybody.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you so much,
thank
Larry.
you.
Yep. I'll see you later in the week. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. I tell you, we're getting all these people from like Kentucky and Tennessee and Georgia, right? The last person interviewed the other day had that strong accent too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. Country. I love southern United States. It's amazing when you drive through. It's just a different. I mean, I'm from New York. Don't get me wrong. I love New York. Actually, I love the whole darn world. There's very little about the world I don't like. It's true. I'm just a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Well, I want to thank Mr. Larry for sharing that testimonial. He had 3 weeks of a 3-week program, which is 9 sessions in 3 weeks. It included coming in for a consultation with me, him and his wife. I went over and they watched a 6-minute DVD on how the laser works from the manufacturer. And understand that the laser on its own cannot solve the problems that we have. It's an assist. It's one part which most people do not have. They don't have access to a laser lipo, to a fat laser. And as a result of that, they don't have any understanding as to just how much they need it, how helpful it could be in helping them to lose those inches. And he said something I just think is so important. He saw results really fast. I cannot tell you how effective seeing results really fast is when it comes to making long-term changes in your body and in your body composition, how much fat you have, where you distribute your fat, how much muscle tone you have. Basically, it all kind of falls under this disguise of weight loss. But weight loss is such a poor way of talking about getting your health back. Just losing weight does not mean you're going to be healthy, people. Let's be upfront about that. You could lose weight from having a horrible disease. You could have an underlying cancer and become cachectic and lose all your weight, and that doesn't mean you're healthy. You could lose weight by not eating the right foods and be going into nutritional deficiency because you're not getting the right foods and lose weight. There's people that lose weight when they drink a lot of alcohol. Yeah, they can't hold any weight because they get so scarred from the alcohol, such a poison that it can affect their weight. So just losing weight doesn't mean you're healthy. What's healthy is changing your body fat percentage to be a healthier percentile. And it's a pretty simple concept to understand. Your body fat percentage should be about 20% of your weight should be fat. 20% of your body mass should be adipose tissue or fatty tissue. And fat's very important because what it is it stores energy for us. It stores calories so we can access those calories when we need to. If we're not eating enough food, we can access our stored fat. The other reason for the fatty tissue is it makes us look better. It's a shock absorber. It surrounds your organs and it surrounds your joints. And that fatty tissue is like a shock absorber, and it's a padding that keeps the organs from rubbing together. And you have fat on the bottom of your feet for when you walk, so you have some cushion there. Fat has it's a shock absorber effect. Another reason for fat is it's something which it produces estrogen. Estrogen. Think about that. You thought estrogen was only produced by the female hormones, organs? No, your fat produces estrogen. And for that reason, fat can be really, really important because, estrogen is one of those hormones which is really, really important for women and for men in small amounts. So that's an amazing part about fat cells. The other thing that fat cells do is they produce something called tissue macrophages. So your immune system, which is the system which fights infection, which fights disease, which fights foreign invaders, is your immune system. Those adipose tissue macrophages are cells which help with the immune system. So those fat cells, not only do they hold calories, not only can they produce the estrogen, they can also become macrophages, which means they can eat and destroy and absorb toxins. So that's a pretty important thing. The main role of fat is to store lipids, to store energy. It also cushions and insulates the body. But far from being hormonally inert, adipose tissue has in recent years, and this is fairly new information, it's been recognized as a major endocrine organ. Your other endocrine organs are your adrenal glands, your thyroid gland, the glands which your pituitary gland produce all of these endocrine systems. Well, so are your fat cells. It's a major endocrine organ. It produces hormones such as leptin, which helps you not overeat, estrogen, which we just went over, the female hormone estrogen. It also produces resistin. And that is a hormone which when you have too much fat, too much resistin, it makes you resistant to insulin. And resistin has a lot to do with what leads to type 2 diabetes. We have so much body fat that the amount of resistin that's being produced by the fatty tissue becomes a factor, and it makes the insulin not work anymore. And that it's truly to save your life because you're eating too much. When you're eating too much, you can't keep making fat because you're overeating your energy burn. And those extra calories are stored as fat. But if you don't back off, eventually the body will become resistant to the fat. And that's resistant to insulin. There's another factor that fat produces, and it's called a cytokines. Cytokine TNFA is what it's called. A cytokine is a mediator of inflammation. So it mediates, meaning it controls the inflammatory response. Now, the inflammatory response is a response that is secondary to a tissue injury. If you have a bruise or you twist your ankle or you have an infection somewhere in your body, the fat cells produce cytokines close to that area, and these cytokines help to mediate the inflammatory response. And what happens is, as long as your body fat percentage is only about 20%, it's a very normal and healthy amount. You can store energy, you can produce these hormones you need, the leptin, the estrogen, the resistant, and it also produces the cytokines in a very mild, moderate way. What happens is, as the body fat percentage starts to increase from 20 to 25%, which is overweight, to 30%, which is obese, to 40%, which is morbidly obese, think about it. 30 to 40% of your body mass is now fat. What happens is you have way too much estrogen being produced. The resistant goes up, which causes you to lead to type 2 diabetes. The leptin and ghrelin increases, so you're actually hungrier. And then the cytokines, which mediate inflammation, go haywire. And it's an inflammatory condition. And extra body fat leads to inflammation in your joints, in your knees, in your back, in your toes, in your fingers, inflammation around your breathing. I mean, it is just, it's a whole plethora of problems from having too much body fat. So, yes, weight loss is supposed to lose body fat, right? Lose weight, lose fat. It isn't always true. And that's a myth. Just losing weight doesn't mean you're healthy. What means you're healthy is when your body fat percentage can get down to 20% and the other 80% is lean muscle. That's a healthy person. 20% fat, 80% lean muscle. And we need to be clear what lean muscle means. The definition of lean muscle in this context is anything that's not fat. Okay, so if it's fat, it's fat. Anything that's not fat, bones, ligaments, water, lean muscle mass, proteins in your body, those are considered lean muscle mass when it comes to the calculation of your body fat percentage. So 20% fat, 80% muscle, you're a good, healthy dude or chick or female. And what means you could be 300 pounds. And if you've got 20% body fat and 80% lean muscle, you're a super healthy 300-pound person. There's nothing wrong with that. You could also be 120 pounds and be 20% body fat and 80% muscle and be very, very healthy. That same person can grow in 30 to 40% body fat and drop down to 60% muscle tone. And now you're an unhealthy person because your body fat percentage is too high. Man, when you're carrying body fat around that's over 30%, it is like an anchor. It weighs you down. It prevents you from moving forward. It prevents you from exercising. It makes, it's being ill. And it's so common that we're getting used to it, but it's not okay. And, at the Slim Body Laser Spa, I've dedicated my life, my whole thought patterns and what I look at and the studies I do to being efficient and quick and safely getting rid of those body fat percentages, trying to make that ratio go from 30 to 25 to 20% and to increase lean muscle at the same time. That's kind of what we're doing at the Slim Body Laser Spa. And that's why so many people are so pleased with it. It works so well. My plan is for people that maybe have a large amount of weight to lose, someone who's metabolically challenged, someone with high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, chronic arthritis. These are all symptoms of somebody who is carrying around too much body fat. The high blood pressure, the type 2 diabetes, the chronic arthritis, which is inflammatory arthritis. Remember, I said that high body fat leads to inflammation. Well, that's why we have so much arthritis. And what we're doing at the office is you can get a 3 times a week for 3-week plan, which is 9 sessions in 3 weeks. And most people, depending on their habits and how old they are and how much they eat and what they come in with, can expect to lose between 2 to 5% of their body fat percentile. So a 35% body fat, someone can bring it down to 30 to 28 to 29% in only the 3 weeks at the spa. Now, these results are not guaranteed. They're very specific, but this is something that we measure. Now, when you go to other weight loss centers, forget about the body sculpting centers, you know, the Cool Sculpting and the Safe Sculpt. Those do nothing to increase your health. They're just literally trying to shrink down and to remove some of that extra fat so you look better, but they're not really taking into account your health. And that's because it uses energy to destroy the fat, not just to shrink it. The Slim Body Laser Spa, we're using red light therapy, which does not damage the tissue cells. It simply makes them smaller, which is what we really want. You don't want to remove tissue. You want to have it smaller so it isn't so much of a problem. And as a result of the laser, it shrinks and releases those calories. And then the next day, you burn them as energy over the next day. So our program is 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. The day on, you're getting the laser treatment. It's releasing 600 calories from the blood, from the fatty tissue. And then over the next day, you burn those calories as energy. So yeah, you have to eat a little bit less to burn those calories, but you're not dieting. I can't stress that important. You just have to be mindful as to how many calories you're eating. And you will be more than happy with the results. You're listening to the Slim Body Laser Spa Health and Wellness Show. I have an office right on East Ocean Boulevard. If you've just tuned in, it's right across the street from the Fresh Market and down the street from Hutchison Island. We've been doing laser-assisted weight loss for over 8 years now. I've been in practice for 30 years, 8 years with laser-assisted weight loss. Over close to 5,000 people have been through the process. And if you go to the reviews online, you'll see we have 70 plus Google reviews that are 4.9 stars. I mean, it's incredibly successful. And that's because we try hard to get results. It's not a business. It's a purpose. It's not a way of making money. It's a way of helping people. And I hope that they exchange money in response to the care that they received in equal amounts. That's the way it should be. So maybe you're somebody who is carrying around extra weight and you'd like a supervised plan to ensure weight loss results very quickly. So that's a perfect candidate. Maybe your doctor has been riding you about losing some weight. Your family is concerned about your belly or the weight that you're carrying. Everybody can see it. You've been put on medication, such as blood pressure medication, because your pressure is going up. Blood pressure is not an illness. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of a problem somewhere in the body. Just treating the blood pressure with medication is temporary. It's important because it lowers your pressure, but there's a reason why your body elevated the pressure. Your body makes no mistakes. It's a perfect situation. And when the pressure goes up, because something is blocking the blood flow, the body needs more perfusion. It needs more blood. The body will respond by raising the pressure. You know that. Same thing with your with the garden pump that pumps the water to your sprinklers. You know, when there's a block somewhere in the line, the pressure goes up in the whole system trying to get through that blockage. To just turn the pressure down doesn't affect, it affects the flow of the water to the sprinklers. Why would you do that with your body? So when you're on high blood pressure medication to lower it, it's not an aging thing. Let's be really clear about that. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're going to be on blood pressure medication. You're on blood pressure medication because something is not working properly. You've neglected some part of your overall health for the most part. Not everybody. I mean, there are people that congenitally will run high pressure, but I even wonder how important it is for them to be on blood pressure medication when there's nothing else wrong. I mean, there's no other visible signs of any other problems. So one of the first symptoms to pop up when you're carrying extra weight is blood pressure. And it's very easy to reduce the blood pressure by taking some meds, but it doesn't fix the problem. So let's get into the solution, not just the symptom. So one of the other issues with weight gain is what happens is you get, after the high blood pressure happens, then usually the cholesterol will come next, your cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is a waxy-like substance that the body produces, and it's very important for your hormones and for your body's ability to respond hormonally, is what cholesterol is. And cholesterol, when combined with sunlight, creates vitamin D. Now, one of the biggest deficiencies we're seeing in clinical nutrition with clients that come in is they have low vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, hey, it comes from the sun, and you need cholesterol to make it. So it makes sense. We're taking cholesterol lowering drugs, trying to prevent heart attacks and trying to prevent strokes and you know, the issues that come with high cholesterol, which is warranted. And as a result of lowering the cholesterol, we're also not going out in the sun anymore. We're forced to believe that the sun causes cancer, and of course it can, but not on everybody. And almost to a point where we're so covered up and not getting any sun that we're ending up deficient in vitamin D. Now, I remember being in school, in elementary school, back in New York at Umpqua, in Massapequa, New York, and I learned about vitamin D and sunlight and that you needed a little bit of sun. So to put somebody on cholesterol-lowering drugs called a statin can, over time, can create health problems. Statins have side effects. You know, so high blood pressure from the fat, now you're on cholesterol drug to lower the cholesterol, and as a result, you're suffering with low vitamin D. So there's two more problems. Now, what happens is a lot of times the blood sugar will start to creep up because of the relationship between extra body fat and this hormone that the fat produces called resistin. Now, resistin is a hormone which does what it says. It makes you resistant to insulin. Sounds like type 2 diabetes to me. Now, there are many causes of type 2 diabetes. It's not all from fat. Let's be honest and upfront about that. You can be a very thin person and have a genetic disposition to diabetes and develop type 2 diabetes and have no weight problem at all. But a lot of you out there who are type 2 diabetes, who having blood sugar issues, are definitely from the body fat, more than not. So that's why we mention this to you. And one of the symptoms of having high blood sugar all the time is one of the major symptoms is you're thirsty a lot. You get very dehydrated. You're urinating more than normal. And that's hard to really determine. I do a lot of consultations with a lot of people, and most people believe that when you're older, as so many people are, that they have to pee more. And just like you believe that being older means you're going to be on high blood pressure medication, or that your cholesterol is going to be high. And these are not because you're older. This isn't because of aging. It's because your body systems are starting to fail. They're not functioning like they should. And one of the symptoms of high blood sugar is frequent urination. So what happens is when you eat food, suppose you have breakfast this morning and you have 800, 900 calorie breakfast, which is fairly large. And then you eat that food. In 4 hours, all that food is going to be combined, it's going to be digested, assimilated, and absorbed as energy by your body. So some of it's going to go to work for the work you need to produce energy, and the excess is going to be stored away as fat. In 4 hours, this happens in 4 hours, not 2 weeks. People, you don't get fat in 2 weeks, you get fat in one meal. That's how quickly the body makes fat. Because after the 4th hour, the blood sugar has to be normal, which means all the calories were absorbed and stored away either as work or as fat. So this is why eating too much at one sitting can literally be deadly. It can kill you because you're putting too many calories in that 4 hour window. That 4 hour window can efficiently burn 400 to 500 calories for work. So if you have a meal that's 1,500 calories or 2,000 calories in one meal, and let me tell you, people, that's easy. Grand Slam breakfast, Denny's Grand Slam, 3 eggs, 2 pieces of toast. You get the 3 slices of bacon, 2 sausage links. You got a large glass of orange juice, maybe put some jelly on that toast, and you put cream and sugar in your coffee. You're over 1,800 calories there, people. You've only can burn 400 to 500 calories in that 4 hour window. So 500 calories are burned as energy. The other 1,000 calories are stored as fat at the end of that 4th hour. That's how it works. If you had 3,000 calories at one sitting, and there's people that do that. What is his name? The guy from Sopranos, the guy who died, he was eating 3,000, 8,000 calories a day. They said he was like powering down food like crazy. And what happens is, again, unless you're running the bridge, and he wasn't, most of you aren't, the amount of energy you need to sustain life is only about 200 or 300 calories in 4 hours. You put in 3,000 calories into the system, 400 go to work. The other 3,500 calories are stored as fat the same day. So your body becoming resistant to insulin is really saving your life because you're not backing off on the food you eat. It's really important to understand that. So food is great. We need food for energy. We need food for enjoyment. It's pleasurable. It's nice to prepare it. It feels good, but let's just not overdo it. I had a realization, gosh, this last probably couple, 2-3 months now. So, I own a weight loss spa, right? I'm the doctor there. It's called Slim Body Laser Spa. And what's going on is 5 years ago, I had developed quite a bit of weight. I was 265 pounds, was a 40-inch belly, and I was in my laser spa. I owned the Slim Body Spa for about 2 years, and I never liked weight loss. I always felt that weight loss, basically, I don't want to use the term, but I don't enjoy it. It's when I eat too little, I don't feel good. I don't have the energy and I'm miserable. And I don't like to be miserable. Even though the weight was creeping on, I just figured I would handle it eventually. Someday I would handle it. And it just got bigger and bigger. And I attempted to shrink back a little bit on eating, very, very haphazardly and not very good at it. So I decided to join a bunch of gyms. I went to Gold's Gym. I went to Results Fitness. I got a trainer. I bought a gym at home. I bought a workout station at home. It played against sports. Let me tell you, I don't like exercise like in a gym or pulling on a machine. I can cut the lawn. I can go scuba diving. I can carry everything to the boat and back off the boat. I like playing tennis, racquetball. I love walking the golf course. I am not a lazy person, but for me to spend an hour and go to a building where people are lifting weights on the ground, and it's just not something I've ever really enjoyed doing. And as a result, I also found out that exercise, if the only tool you have is exercise to lose weight, you're in trouble. Because when you're younger, I never worried about food. I was so active, exercising, doing things that food would not ever hold on to me. I would burn it as fast as I ate it. And then something changed in my metabolism as I got older in my 40s. It has to do with hormones, low testosterone in men. In women, it's high estrogen, basically. And all of a sudden, the same energy, the same effort, to lose weight didn't work the same. And since the only tool I had was exercise, remember, I'm an eater. I like to eat. Well, I'll tell you, in 3 years, I gained 40, 50 pounds. And I was in trouble. And my blood sugar showed it. I started having pains in my feet, numbness and tingling. I would be at night when I would go to sleep, the early signs of neuropathy, I would lay on my back. I would go into bed. And as soon as I got off my feet would like be buzzing. I could feel it in my toes. I'm like, man, that's maybe it's just from walking a lot. I didn't really know what it was from. Figured it would pass. I'm not one to run to the doctor too quickly and take meds. I believe in doctors, but I don't believe in medicine unless you really need it. And so over time, it was a symptom that I was starting to become more familiar with, this achiness of my toes, this buzzing feeling in my feet. Well, let me tell you, it was the beginning of neuropathy, just for those of you who want to cut to the chase. When you have high blood sugar and your body is carrying a certain amount of glucose in the bloodstream, more than normal, it's toxin. And your feet and your hands suffer neuropathy first because they're the farthest away from your heart. They have the poorest circulation of nutrition. It's called the dependent portion of your body. The part that is farthest away from your heart is always going to suffer with nutritional problems first. That's why we have so many foot problems, people. That's why your toes, and you get the fungus in the nail, and you get the ingrown toenail, and your toes get twisted up. And I mean, I go to the podiatrist now because of something I'm having treated on my toe. And I'll tell you, there's no shortage of people with foot problems. Wow. And why don't our feet heal the same as they do in upper areas? Because it's farthest away from the heart. It's the dependent portion of the body. So as a result of that, I had this sharp pain in my left foot in 2010, I guess it was, before I had the laser. And I did not know what it was. I'm a chiropractor. I x-rayed my foot. I didn't see any problem in it. There was no bruising. There was no bleeding, but it was a sharp pain. It felt like a tendon had been, or a nerve had been pinched in my foot. Well, about 3 weeks later, it turned numb. The whole toe and my front of my toes started to become numb, and it was almost a relief because it wasn't hurting anymore. It was pain before that. And then as it went numb, I was like, I didn't think I could live with that pain. And if you've ever had neuropathy, you know what I'm talking about. And I dealt with that for probably 2 or 3 years before I really had, it's very obvious to me that I had high blood sugar and I was at the borderline of type 2 diabetes. So I'd also been practicing medical weight loss in my office. I've been recommending it and learning about it and trying to help people that come into the office that need more than just the laser. And one of the studies and statistics that I had read about, I also became an expert on diabetes because I'm a doctor and I want to know more about it. What I learned in college wasn't enough. I needed to study it. It's changed so much. So I became an expert at diabetes and mainly type 2 diabetes. And there was a very strong statistic, and please pay attention to this if you're listening to this. If you're type 2 diabetic, whether you're on insulin or metformin or glucoside or the other Evonicin, I forget what the other drug is, and you have in your 50, it's less than 5 years since you've been diagnosed. So you're on type 2, less than 5 years, and you're overweight. It doesn't matter how old you are, but if you're overweight, which would be 20, 30 to 40 pounds overweight, and you're type 2 diabetic, if you lose 10% of your body fat, you have an 80% chance of reversing type 2 diabetes, of curing yourself of type 2 diabetes. And Maybe you've been on medication for longer than 5 years. Maybe you've been type 2 since you were in your 40s and you're still taking the metformin, you're still taking the drug. It's not going away. And you're overweight. You have a strong ability to possibly lessen the amount of medication you're on, be able to control your blood sugar better. And that's what we do at the spa. And as a result of that, I said to myself, I know metformin and the drugs will lower the blood sugar, but let's try to do it naturally first. If I can't do it naturally, then I'll go to the medications. So I went to my doctor and we talked about it, and I did my laser. That's when I did my first 9-session plan on my own lipo laser. I did it in Boca Raton. I had opened an office down in Boca. So I went there, and at the same time, I included a diet plan which was low in blood sugar, which was low in sugar because of the diabetes. And I learned something about this. Sugar is in everything. And sugar is also in refined carbohydrates, foods which are refined, the processed food, the stuff that comes in cans and boxes and bags, and it has preservatives and has food coloring. That's all. It's garbage. It's a chemical S storm that over time can create high blood sugar. So I cut all that out when I started on the laser. I ate 6 meals a day, and I kept it under 2,000 calories because my BMR was 2,400. So 2,000 calories. Hey, I can live with that. That's enough food for me to not feel like I'm depriving myself. But I couldn't eat it all at one time. I had to spread it out. I had to spread it out over 6 equal portions. At first, it was a little difficult because I was used to eating to the point where I felt, like I want to throw up. Not really. I was used to eating till I felt really full. And with the smaller amounts, I kind of was eating and then stopped because the portion was gone. And over time, my body started to change. My gut, which is a muscle, just like any muscle, I had exercised it to the point where I could eat a whole pizza back then, or I could eat a complete sub sandwich and chips and a big drink at one time, which is an enormous amount of food. My belly, the muscles had adapted to that. And this is, I think, very true, because when I do this with clients and I work with people, the people that have the hardest time eating less are the ones that eat too much at one sitting. They're overeating when they eat, and they feel like they're depriving themselves if they don't eat to the point where they're so full that they got to be pushed away from the table. You know who I'm talking about. You know it. You know if I'm talking to you. And that was me. I would eat and I would get a second helping. I get a third helping because I needed to have that feeling like, okay, you can't put any more in. So I'm going to make it through the next week, day, 4 hours. You remember, you digest food in 4 hours, not 2 months. So as a result of that, what happened is at the end of the 3rd week on the laser eating less, I dropped 4 inches of girth. I went from a 40 waist to a 36 waist and lost 6 pounds of weight. I was very, very happy with that. I continued for another week on the laser. I did another 3 sessions, dropped another 3 inches, lost 12 inches, went from a tight 40 waist to a loose 36 in 4 weeks. Then what happened is I did not lose that 10% of my body fat. I only lost about 8 pounds. I needed to lose 40 pounds to lose 10% of my body fat at 265. And it took me 3 months. I continued to eat the same diet I started with, and I lost 10 pounds a month for 3 months in a row. So that was 30 pounds. The 8 pounds from the first 4 weeks, I was 38 pounds down. To say that things improved for me is an understatement. I had more energy. I was sleeping better because I wasn't waking up 3 times a night to pee, which was wonderful to sleep through the night. I had more energy. I started to think clearer. My mind was not occupied with eating as much as it was about being healthy. I started to exercise, became more enjoyable for me. And that was 5 years ago. And I'm still got the weight off today. And I'm still, my blood sugar is under control. In fact, I'm probably about 50 pounds lighter than I was. I'm down to about 220 right now, but I look good. I got nice muscle tone in my face and in my arms, and I'm very happy about that. So if you're interested in coming in for this, what else I wanted to say real quick is my stomach has shrunk. In the last 5 years of eating better and watching how much, I cannot eat that much anymore. I just went to the cafe this morning where I always go a lot, and I could only eat half the omelet, and I left most of the food there. I was full. Do you know how long it took me to get to that point to feel full with half a plate of food? It took me 5 years, but my whole body looks different. It's smaller. You can't be big and eat a little and not feel like you're missing something. It takes time, people. Please don't give up. That's my best message to you. Please don't give up. If you really need help, give us a call at Slim Body Laser Spa. I can help you, and we will see you really soon. Thank you so much.